Today on the Diz List, we reveal our Magic Kingdom bracket in this year's March.
Welcome to the Diz List, a podcast that lists everything in Walt Disney World. I'm Nick.
And I'm Robin. Today, we're going to reveal our Magic Kingdom bracket in this year's March.
Dude, stop. The lawyers told us we can't say that. I'm not sure which word we can't say. The month of March or the fact that it's madness.
Right.
But we can't put them together.
You can say it that way.
Yeah,
because
you just can't put them together.
Out just then.
Yeah, you just can't put them together.
Right. It's like we also can't say, well, you're going to have to bleep this too. Get ready.
Right.
We have to call it the big game.
Right. I ate a super big bowl of chips is okay. But
This is good.
I don't get it. Whatever. We're going to put trademarks on words. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So anyway.
Yeah. Well, we got a big episode here. This is going to be fun.
We do.
I think before we begin, we start with a shout out to everybody that helped make this episode happen, because it took away homework for me. You had a little bit of homework, but it's weird showing up and just, having my news bits and whatever else. But like I said to you on Friday, I go, so what do I have to prepare for the show? Like, we always prepare and we write and we make up what we do on the show. And I'm like, so I don't have anything to do. I just kind of show up.
Yeah. That's it.
It's cool. So thank you. My whole point. Thank you to our listeners for participating and these reveals, which I'm excited to see. I mean, you know them. You have the answers in front of you. So I
do. I've got the cheat sheet.
And I know some of them. I guess I know some of the answers because if you voted in the second and third rounds, but I didn't dwell too much on it. So I didn't have that like cemented in my head. So a lot of this is going to be kind of a cool surprise for me.
Yeah.
At least.
Well, I mean, you also don't know how close things were or
when they were.
There were some. The
Very
Magic Kingdom
close.
bracket in the first round wasn't that close, but there are some later on. The other brackets, we had one thing in one of the parks, I can't remember, that won by one vote.
Oh my God. That's what the one you showed me. That's how I knew.
Yeah.
And I think you put it up on our Instagram story or something. And you put like the pie chart of the actual, it was crazy.
Because it looked like a 50-50, but it wasn't because there was one vote.
Well, that's what's cool about this, I guess.
Absolutely.
You want to do a little news before we get into it?
Absolutely. Let's do that.
Okay. Well, I know you'll be excited about this. There's some early rumors now that there is a Monsters, Inc. 3 in development.
I saw that.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, why not? I mean, it's such an amazing franchise. I mean, that franchise, same with Cars, same with, Finding Dory, Finding Nemo, more to mention. Okay, so if you're yelling, well, what about this? Yes, there's plenty more. But these franchises are so strong and these characters are great that they can keep developing more and more and more and more. So I'm really happy to hear that they're going to go a little bit further. My guess is, if you're familiar and you've seen these movies, the timeline starts here and then they do Monsters University, which is the prequel. My guess is that they will kind of go back, sort of like what Star Wars did. Started here, went backwards, now they're going forwards.
I agree. I think that's what they're going to do. I think it's going to be a sequel, not a prequel. I also think that this is strategic in that they're going to be introducing, I'll bet they introduce characters that they can then inject into that land.
Yes.
In a way that is maybe easier than having Sully walking around. So that's just my thought, is that they might do that.
I believe, speaking of which, I believe they're going to take characters from Monsters University and bring them back. Because they're part of the universe now, so why not make them part of this timeline moving forward?
Yeah. I think it's also a smart move, considering they're building that area, that if they do inject not IP, but new characters that maybe are easier to have walk around, or potentially like the theme of this. So we don't have any clue, for instance, what's going into that. They're calling it the Glob Theater, right?
Yeah. I mean, it could be Monsters, Inc. Laugh Floor, but we don't know that.
Right. So like there could be something that's happening in this movie that ties into that. There's a lot of possibilities. And I think it's really smart look for when they're going to release this, because that I think will be a little bit of a hint as to when about the Monsters Inc. land Monstropolis will be opening.
Okay.
Would be my guess,
Uh,
which scares me because like that could be a long way out.
well, I mean, I can look here fast, but
Well, it's I mean it's just now in development, so my guess is 28, which
yeah, I
scares
don't
me a little
even.
bit.
I'm looking at
But
the
I
article
mean,
here.
like How to Train Your Dragon, because they made that land right, the Isle of Berk, and then they released How to Train Your Dragon shortly after. There's
Yeah,
ways for them to kind of drum up interest there.
I don't see a
So
timeline there.
no, because it's
Um,
super early on.
but
So
we have another one too that's one of my favorite movies from the early 70s. I mean, I wasn't alive in the early 70s, but I watched it growing up, and that was Robin Hood. And I didn't even know they were looking to do a live action Robin Hood, but live action, I need to say this in quotes here, the live action style similar to what Jon Favreau did with the Lion King movies that he made. That style. So it would be like, a standing up talking fox. So I love that movie. You didn't seem too excited about this reboot.
no, I think that live action needs to be put to bed, especially live action for stuff that doesn't involve human beings.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, I get that there's a human being, but like I don't need a computer generated snake and tiger talking to me.
Well,
Um
I do and I don't. We've mentioned this on the show before. If you're a longtime listener, first of all, thank you. What I have mentioned many times on the show is let's talk about a couple different animation styles. We have 2D, which is hand drawn. That's a traditional Walt Disney, right? Then we have your 3D animation, similar to what the Pixar movies are. And Walt Disney Studios does that as well, but let's just say that's like Toy Story 3D animation. And then we have the third, which is sort of the live action, like what they did in The Lion King, which is what they were going to try to do for this. What I've always said to do is take that original Robin Hood, which is actually a shorter movie. If you take that original Robin Hood and take the characters and animation and make them into that 3-dimensional style. So they're still cartoons like Zootopia type characters. Take that same story. It's a great Robin Hood's a timeless story, and make them look like those characters. And I think a movie like that would do very well. And it would work for a lot of those older movies. Sword in the Stone, Rescuers. Those are great movies that I think are underrated. I mean, Sword in the Stone's not that great. The first Rescuers is an excellent movie. Imagine remaking that in a 3D style. Would you be okay with that versus the Jon Favreau style realistic
yes.
animals?
Yeah. When I say computer generated, I'm thinking like when they did Jungle Book, when they did
Mm-hmm.
Lion King. I don't need
Yeah,
those talking snakes and talking tigers and talking lions from Lion King. What I don't mind is a Pixar-esque reboot of something like that. I wouldn't have a problem with that. Although, look, let's tell new stories. I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard amazing things about Hoppers. I've heard that that's like really good. One of the best Pixar movies that's been released in many years, according to the
great.
people who have seen it.
Cool.
So,
I
I
can't
mean,
wait to
I
see it.
haven't seen it. I didn't go see it or anything. I don't do theaters,
Neither
that's
does
not
your
my
daughter.
jam. No,
I had
no.
that conversation with her the other day.
Yeah, I think I'll wait.
I think she's fed up too.
Yeah, well, because people are crazy.
I was.
Um,
I want to tell this story quick too. Nick's kids go to the school where we teach too. So his daughter came in to say hello to me. We were chatting a little bit, and I asked her if she was going to go see it, and she kind of makes a face. Face looks exactly like her father, and she goes, "I don't think I want to go to the movies anymore. I don't want to sit in that theater." And I look, and you're like right out the window of the computer lab there, and I said, "You're just like your father." And then you walked in. I said, "Here's your chip off the old block right here."
yeah,
I loved it. It was so great.
yeah. They did go see a movie recently, but I can't remember what it was.
Zootopia.
Yes, Zootopia 2. That is
Okay,
it. Yeah, they
oh,
each took a friend to go
that's
up.
cool.
They had tickets because when they went to go see Lion King,
Mhm.
the IMAX wasn't working or whatever, and so they got refunded tickets, so they had to use them or lose them, sort of a thing. Yeah, I'm okay with some of these reboots, but man, it's just start telling new stories. Get
Mhm.
better creative people in there, right? I mean, I get I get that they're good, solid stories to tell, but like even Monsters Inc. that we just talked about, sequel. So Monsters Inc. 3, we've got Toy Story Infinity's coming out. We've got Lion King upon Lion King upon Lion King, whether it's reboots or whatever. They're doing Frozen 3, which apparently they've announced that Frozen 3 isn't really Frozen 3. Frozen 3 is a story that's going to take place over 2 movies. So it might be Frozen 3 and 4.
And 3B.
Like, come on, find a new story. Tell a new story. Which I do think that's kind of like one of the things that they've tabbed, their creative department for. So hopefully that happens. But
they're trying to do that with this Hoppers movie, so we'll see.
Yeah. And I think it's doing good numbers. The problem is that people vote with their dollar, right? And Zootopia made a metric ton of money. So like the fact that like people vote with their dollar, but then like Zootopia 2 comes out and like it shatters all these records. It's like, oh, and Moana comes out and it shatters records, and Frozen 3 is going to come out and it's going to shatter records. So like if you look at it from a perspective of the studio, it's like, why would I take a chance on something that might flop?
Yeah, when this is guaranteed. Yeah,
when this is guaranteed, right? So I don't know.
Do we have time? I have a couple of little funny stories.
Of course,
here.
We always have time.
So also back in school, picture yourself in the same place the last story was from, when I was talking with your daughter.
Okay.
This girl comes in. She is a 10th grade girl.
Okay.
And she comes in and she says, so I went to Disney last week. I went, okay. Like she had this like very frank, I went to Disney last week. And I go, yeah. She goes, so you like the Haunted Mansion, right? Yeah. She goes, I wasn't impressed. I said, you weren't impressed? She goes, yeah, I don't get why the Haunted Mansion is just a painting. What? She goes, yeah, I walked up to it and it's just this giant painting of a building. She goes, why would they do that? Why wouldn't they make real building? She'd never been there before.
Yeah, okay.
So it's super interesting to think about. Most people listening to this podcast can picture
the Haunted
Mansion looks like. This girl who had never been before was so disappointed because it was just a painting. I said, well, did you like the actual ride? Oh, the ride was great, but I don't get why it was a painting. So I had to show her that it was.
That they're working on the outside.
Yeah, I explained that to her. She goes, well, I didn't like it. I think it needs to be. I said, well, it will be.
It does.
But for now,
need to be. I agree with you.
She was upset.
I don't know who that girl is, but I agree with you.
I'll tell you off air.
You'll have to tell me after.
We want to protect her.
Yeah, obviously.
And that's one last one too. I want to give a shout out to. I ran into a family that's fans of the show, and I went to see my niece's play in my old high school. And this family came up and they said, "Oh, are you Rob from the Diz List?" And they explained to me it's the Humphrey family. I'm going to say hello to the Humphrey family, and I'm very impressed by the dad. We started talking about the show, and I was there with my niece and they knew who my niece was. I said, oh, I've mentioned my niece on the show a few times. And he goes, this is so impressive. He goes, oh yeah, you talked about her on the one episode where you guys were doing the hand sanitizers because she really likes the Bath and Body Works Disney hand sanitizers. And
wow.
And I was like, holy cow. I'm like, you really do listen. Cause like that was a while ago.
Yeah.
Right?
That was a while ago. And it was also like
this was so cool. And then he explained this to me. So they go to Disney all the time. And they drive down, and he goes, when we drive down to Disney, we put on the Diz List, we save up episodes, we hit play, and then we just listen all the way down. Isn't that wild?
Hello there.
Isn't that cool?
That's awesome.
So shout out to the Humphrey family. Cool. Isn't that great?
That is awesome. Yeah. That's, and I sometimes do that with podcasts too. Like, for instance, we're coming up on the spring here where like, you're going to have to mow the lawn like 3 times a week. It's going to start growing so quickly. So like I stop listening to a certain podcast that I binge when I'm mowing the lawn.
You're saving them up.
Like I usually stop listening sometime around the end of January. That way by October when I'm done mowing, or November when I'm done mowing, I'm caught all completely back up. Just because like otherwise, because they're like 45-minute episodes and I have a lot of land. So it takes longer than 45 minutes to mow my lawn. So, it's that's cool that they do that to, they are proactive in the way that they plan their listening habits there.
It's very cool. Very cool.
It is very cool. We're going to head off to the halftime show here. And when we get back, we're going to talk about our bracket for Magic Kingdom. As always, the halftime is brought to you by our Patreon patrons over at patreon.com/DizListPod. You can head over there. You can join for free. If you join as a jungle skipper, you get early access to new episodes as well as bonus content. And then after 3 months, you'll get a coffee mug, which people seem to like. I said somebody commented last week about having it, and I said, well, that thing's so exclusive that Nick and Rob don't even have one. So head on over to patreon.com/DizListPod and join the conversation over there. But we'll be right back after this. I joked with Rob last week about that thank you that we have there in the middle where it lists the patrons. I said, it's never a bad thing when you have to change the font size to fit everybody. So
welcome to the family.
Yeah. So thank you very much.
No, that's great.
So this half of the show, we're going to talk about the voting results for Magic Kingdom. Now we're going to do this one park at a time is basically how we're going to do it. But we're going to do Magic Kingdom, kind of go all the way through to the champion of Magic Kingdom. Then in the last show of the series, so on the last show of this series, we're going to reveal we're going to do the whole final four of that series. So stick with us through this. And we're going to go Magic Kingdom. I don't know if next week will be Epcot or Hollywood Studios. I do know that Animal Kingdom is going to be the last week. So we're bookending with the kingdoms here. And then we're going to reveal our final four and the matchup there. The final four vote will be completed by the time that this hits the air. So everything will be set in stone, so to speak.
It's going to be a tough vote.
So let's talk about the bracket, and I'll be inserting a graphic here. I plan to insert a graphic here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and tell you what the matchups were for Magic Kingdom. Okay. So in Magic Kingdom, matchup number 1 was the matchup was the classic fairy tale ride, Fantasyland ride versus a mountain thrill. This was Peter Pan versus Space Mountain. Matchup number 2 was Pirates versus Haunted Mansion.
My God.
Yeah. Hey, look, I said, I'm going to make this hard from the get-go. People were mad at me, but they voted. We had a pretty big turnout. I think we had more people vote for this than vote on typical state elections. So quick service lunch of Pecos Bills versus a table service dinner of Skipper Canteen. And then the last matchup in Magic Kingdom was Tomorrowland Transit Authority People Mover versus the Jungle Cruise. Okay. So let's start with matchup number 1. Matchup number 1 was, again, Peter Pan versus Space Mountain. So this was not as close as I expected it, but it goes to show you exactly what I mean when I say this, that Peter Pan is overrated, right?
Yeah.
So all of us that are listening or watching or participating in this discussion right now have probably waited longer in line for Peter Pan than we have for Space Mountain, right? On average,
yeah, I would say
the wait time I would say is greater for Peter Pan than Space Mountain. Would you agree?
Yeah. I mean, it varies obviously, but I think if you're taking the average, I would say you're right.
Yep. So that's why typically people vote, just like I talked about voting with your dollars, people vote with their time in line is kind of how I look at it. However, here, Space Mountain won, and they won what I would consider to be pretty well. I mean, it wasn't a runaway, but they won 60, they were 60-40. Okay. It was off by, it wasn't exactly 60-40, but it was like 60.2%
that's pretty decisive.
Yes, I would 100%. I agree. I think that's decisive. It was one that we weren't looking at and saying, I wonder what'll happen here. So Space Mountain won. Why do you think that would be?
You look at this too, Nick. I mean, it's different types of people and different types of listeners, and we hear a lot from our listeners, and a lot of them have older kids and maybe, they're categorized as Disney adults like we are, and maybe don't have kids. But then there's a whole big group of listeners who listen with their kids, and they like those types of rides. But I think there's a crossover of both. And I think that your family and my family kind of cross over into this area where we kind of do everything. Even with younger kids, they enjoy going on those thrill rides. So those two
Right.
worlds
Yep.
overlap. So if you're posed with the question of, Space Mouse, and that was a Freudian slip, but at
Yeah.
least it was the mouse. So Space Mountain versus Peter Pan there, and you want to have thrill versus, it's kind of a nice little setup museum that you fly over
Mhm.
top of, a little bit of movement with Peter Pan at the end, but generally they're all just kind of like little setups and sculptures, which is fine.
Mhm.
No problem with that. It's all art. I think you're generally going to see most people going for the fun and the more thrilling one, because you'll get the older crowd, and then you'll get the crossover families like ours. So I wouldn't say I'm surprised by these results. I think it's right where I would have expected it to be.
Yeah. My thing here is that I am a little surprised in that Space Mountain, the last few times I've ridden it, just really is like, it's rough. It
Yeah.
is, it's in need of a closure and a refurbishment of that track, in my
Yes.
opinion.
Well,
I feel it's super, super tough on
I
your
say
back.
this on the show a lot too. You're probably tired of hearing me say this, but man, the Space Mountain in Disneyland is twice as good. So if you enjoy Space Mountain now in Florida, listeners who have been to the Disneyland one, I'm sure you're all saying with me, oh yeah, he's right. It is that much better. It's smoother. It's not a single file. It's a side by side, and it's fantastic. I mean, it's no
Uh,
contest for me. If I were
yeah,
to do a March Madness with those two exact rides, maybe that'd be a fun thing to do in the future. Is
yeah.
compare
There you did it
the
again. You
Disneyland and
said
Disney
that
World.
word.
I'll wait till you
You
go.
said those.
Once you
You said
go,
those two. You said those two words back to back again. You can't do that.
I did.
Yeah, you have to say march into some madness, not
So do I have to
not
write down a
together.
timestamp for you to go
No,
back in
it's
and remember
okay.
it's
Okay.
23 minutes
I'll
for you to
figure it.
bleep it out?
I'll figure it out. Matchup number 2
Yeah.
was Pirates versus Haunted Mansion, and when this came out,
God.
a hatred that I got.
Yeah.
Why would you put those together? And if you look at my matchups, right? So
Mhm.
you've got a Fantasyland classic versus what I consider to be a thrill classic.
Mhm.
Here you've got two classic dark rides going
Yeah.
against each other, right? I had
Why
a
not?
quick service versus a table service. I had two slow moving rides with like Tomorrowland People Mover and Jungle Cruise. Like I
Well,
th- I
I thought
thought,
you were going to say Omni Mover versus boat ride, because that's a good way to
well, true.
differentiate the two.
That's a good way to look at it too. But Pirate versus Haunted Mansion. Pirates versus Haunted Mansion. So this was probably the most heated debate back and forth
Mm.
for it was definitely the most heated debate back and forth for Magic Kingdom. This was flip-flopping all over the place. It had a late push at the end that made the winner stand out.
I
But
remember who won, but I don't know what the final tally was.
so what I will tell you is that under 10 votes, less than 10 votes separate
Wow.
these two.
Wow.
Yep. Pirates of the Caribbean won. Yeah.
I remember that because I remember voting for it later on. So
Yeah. I
and I was
purposely
like,
kept
where's
myself
Haunted
separate.
Mansion? I had to go look. Where did Haunted Mansion go?
Yeah. Yeah. Huh? It disappeared.
It's okay.
So many people were angry about this matchup, but it's like, okay, I'm pretty sure that I could have matched up. I mean, you can match up anything in that park. I mean, if I pick all 8 rides, just the top 8 rides, everybody's gonna be mad about every matchup. So, like, I get why you're upset, but that means that you have a passion for it and you've got to pick your favorite. What do you like better, Pirates or Haunted Mansion? Now, I did not vote. I will tell you, in full disclosure, I did not vote in any round
I did.
because I get it, but I constructed the brackets, and so I didn't feel like that wouldn't be kosher of me to do. So I did not. Had I voted, I would have voted for Pirates because Pirates is my favorite dark ride, hands down. We had that discussion. I'm Team Pirates, you're Team Haunted Mansion. Makes sense.
But I'm also not anti, and neither are you. We both
No.
love the opposite ride. So
Yeah.
looking at that bracket and seeing Pirates in the next round, I'm like, okay, good. Bummer that my favorite's not there, but I love that ride enough that I would consider voting again, depending on who it was matched up against.
I will say I like that Pirates is in a building as opposed to Haunted Mansion being in a painting.
I can't wait to tell you who the girl was.
Matchup 3. Okay, matchup 3 was the quick service of Pecos Bills versus the table service of Skipper's Canteen.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna be honest with you. I was trying to figure out whether I wanted to do like when I did the bracket, whether I want to do like Pecos Bills versus Cosmic Rays. But I was like, no,
Mhm.
I want to see because I think like this was more of a vote of are you quick service, or are you team table service is kind of what I felt like this was turning into. I was quite shocked with this result, to be honest
Yeah.
with you, because I don't know about you, but when you go to Magic Kingdom, you almost always, unless it's a really busy day, you almost always can get walk up availability at Skipper's Canteen at some point.
Mhm.
I've been sitting over at the Poly or over at Bay Lake Tower and been like, kind of hungry. Let's get some dinner. We hadn't planned on a dinner tonight. Let's get some dinner, and scroll through and see like there's a reservation at 7 o'clock, or check, join the walk up line. But Skipper's Canteen won, and it won pretty handily. I mean, it was another 60-40 split with Skipper's Canteen. Now, I don't
It's
know if
one
that's
of my
because
favorites. It just
yeah,
is. It's one of my favorite
I
restaurants
love it.
in Disney, period, for
Yeah,
multiple reasons.
yeah. I we aren't. This is not necessarily like if we did a top five, I probably would find some other ones. Off the top of my head, I would say it's in my top 5
Me
restaurants at
too.
Disney
Yeah,
World.
me too.
And I love really nice fancy restaurants. This is not a really nice fancy restaurant. It is a very good restaurant in a theme park. I think it's probably for me outside of Epcot, the best theme park. Well, wait, you have Tiffin's.
I know. It's hard
I
to
don't know.
say.
I would say it's still probably. I like this. This is food similar to what you might get at Tiffin's, but the atmosphere is less stuffy and easier to get into. To me, go to Nomad Lounge instead. Anyway, Skipper's Canteen wins that matchup, and it might have been maybe I made a mistake by picking Pecos Bills because it's not the best of the quick service. Maybe I should
No,
have
I
done
mean,
something
you said
different.
it
But
earlier. I disagree. I think you're doing quick service versus table service, and it's
right, but I could have gone
shown.
Cosmic Rays,
Yeah, I mean,
which I think is
sure.
a better quick service.
Eh,
So
we're
anyway,
gonna do it. We'll do it again next year.
that's right. That's why we do it every year. That's why we march into our madness every year.
Mhm.
So matchup number 4. So the last matchup at Magic Kingdom for the first round was People Mover versus Jungle Cruise. So we make no secret about our love-hate relationship with Jungle Cruise.
I think
Right?
that's the best way to put it.
Like
It's
we
true.
both love the idea, but don't like the execution currently. I
Yeah.
think that would be a good way to put it. And it has a large footprint. And I always feel like I'm insulting people when I say how much I actually dislike the ride.
Yeah.
Then we did this vote. I was like, my goodness. Just take a wild guess. So Tomorrowland People Mover won. Okay. Take a wild guess the percentages.
70-30.
It was 77% People Mover.
Wow. Okay. I
77
only
to
guessed that
23.
because of your intro. If you were to just say blind and have me guess what it was, I wouldn't have guessed that.
Yeah.
My guess
Like,
would have been 60-40 People Mover
you
because
went
of our
s-
listeners.
Right. You went super high and still didn't get there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
I was shocked.
Yeah.
I was shocked. I got to tell you, though,
I'm like laughing. I'm so surprised. Well, not really.
like, I'm not shocked that People Mover won. I'm shocked that it won so handily, which
Yeah.
makes me believe that maybe we're not all that off base saying, like, we think it should go away. Right. So
Well, my issue is I don't have great hearing from playing in these like hard rock, hardcore bands forever. So my hearing is bad. So when I ride those rides, it's the way, and I get the idea of doing the terrible speakers because it's more like a tour. But if you think about Animal Kingdom and, its sibling ride, so to speak, Kilimanjaro Safaris, I can hear every word they say perfectly. But when I'm riding Jungle Cruise, I'll lean over to my wife and I'll be like, I can't tell what the heck they're saying right now. Like the only thing I know is they always do, the backside of water, but the rest is kind of on shuffle, the jokes that they do. So it's harder for me as a former rocker who that struggles with hearing. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's my problem.
Well, but I totally understand why you would say that. So we moved on from the round of 32. We're now on to the Sweet 16, which I think is not trademarked. So I can say that because I don't want to get my lawyers all upset with me.
In a couple years, you'll be having a Sweet 16 party at your house.
Yeah, he's not a partier. He's not like that kind of a
I didn't
partier.
mean him. I meant her.
Oh. Side note: I asked him the other day, what kind of car would you want to drive when you turn 16? He's like, oh, like this one. My wife drives an SUV. It's a 3-row SUV. It's not a big 3-row SUV. It's a Kia Telluride, so it's not big. I was like, really? Why? He's like, oh, it's way more practical. There's more space for stuff and more space for people. I'm like, dude, I could not have summed you up more perfectly than that answer. It's more practical. Yeah, that's so him.
Spending the amount of time I do with him being his teacher, that's like the perfect answer from your son. He's so much fun to have.
So matchup, that means the new matchup was Space Mountain versus Pirates.
Okay. Which is hard.
Yep. And Skipper's Canteen versus People Mover. Look, I get that's a weird one, but it's like, it is what it like.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
At some point, our goal here is not just rides, it's whole park.
Right. Yeah. And
that's what we wanted here.
Yeah.
And can something that's not a ride win the whole thing? Yeah. I mean, that's what we want, that opportunity for the whole Disney experience. Like, for example, our friend Jessica, longtime listener, she's not about the rides. She loves the shows. She loves the dining. She loves the drinks. Like, that's her. And she's part of our audience too, where I mean, as much as I love rides, there's other stuff that's really great. And that's the point here, listeners, is that we want the whole picture, not just this ride.
Yeah. So, like, I didn't vote. Like I said, I didn't vote, but I can tell you right now that there's one that I would have definitely voted differently than what the outcome was.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a landslide, but I would have been on the opposite side of it. And that's fine.
I don't know. By the way, I don't know what happened here. So you can ask me whatever you want and I'll guess.
You don't remember what happened?
No, I don't remember.
Okay. So we have Space Mountain versus Pirates.
Huh?
Okay. I'll give you a hint. 73% of the votes went to the winner. 27% of the votes went to the loser. That's the only hint I'll give you. Space Mountain versus Pirates.
I'm going to guess, knowing our audience, Pirates.
You are correct. Pirates won. Pirates absolutely destroyed Space Mountain, and I think rightfully so.
And I think...
Go ahead.
I'm only saying this because if that beat out Haunted Mansion, then there's a lot of love for that ride in our listenership.
That's the other thing is like, this is like, in that other March thing that is happening.
The other, we can say, like, how about bracket in the basketball bracket?
Yeah. In that other bracket that's happening. Okay. There are oftentimes first round matchups that are like, how did these two teams end up matched up to each other? And then the winner ends up going on a run. And what I would say is that, like, no matter who won one of those games, that winner was going to go on a run. I felt like that's kind of the situation with Pirates, where it doesn't matter who would have won, Pirates or Haunted Mansion, they would have, ended up beating Space Mountain because they're both well loved.
I'm shocked you didn't say the name, Nick. What do they call the team that goes from zero to hero? And again, no, that was not intentionally a Disney reference.
Zero to hero?
Yeah, but they call this team through this bracket the Cinderella team, which I think is absolutely perfect to use in the description of a Disney parks bracket.
Yes. Well, I'll tell you what. I don't know if Epcot's next week or the week after, but there's a Cinderella in Epcot. Is all I think.
I think Epcot is week 3.
Okay.
I think we decided that it went Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, Epcot, and then
that's fine by me. I'm just okay.
Well, that's what it is now. We're deciding.
Okay, we're gonna stick with it. So in 2 weeks, we'll talk about.
I thought that's what you said. So that is what you said. Now
it likely is. Matchup 2 in this round of 4 for the Magic Kingdom bracket: Adventureland Chill versus Tomorrowland Thrill. It's Skipper's Canteen versus the People Mover.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna guess People Mover again. It was a big hit because I bet more people have ridden that than eaten at Skipper Canteen. I don't know.
I think that's a good way to look at it, but I didn't think it'd be this much of a landslide. This is the one that I would have voted for. Skipper's Canteen. People Mover won 89% to 11%.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Again, knowing our audience, that makes sense.
Yeah. I love Skipper's Canteen, so I got to just say I think that the people mover's great, but if you've never eaten at Skipper's Can, excuse me, if you've never eaten at Skipper's Canteen, do yourself a favor. The next time you're in Magic Kingdom, if you're looking for a place to eat that day, eat there. It's not super expensive, honestly. If you're going to do a table service dining that day anyway, or sometime while you're around, if you're staying in a monorail resort and you have park hoppers, make your dinner reservation over there. I know there's really good restaurants. I get there's Citrico's. I get there's Narcoossee's. I understand Wailulu Grill. I understand that they've got Ohana and you've got Kona Cafe. Look, I get those. California Grill. Make it. Trust me when I say, if you like kind of pseudo adventurous food, get over to Skipper's Canteen. It's really good. It's really good.
And it works even if you have picky eaters too.
Yeah. Yeah. They have
I think when
they have the dish, what is it? The dish that tastes like chicken because it is?
Because it is, yeah.
Yeah.
I think when we ate there, we had 6 people. Everybody got something different. We all sort of tried everything out, and there were dishes that nobody had gotten before. Like my son is not adventurous, and you know that about him, and he's like, I want to do the pork chop. Like, he was really excited to try something new and something different. I think my daughter got one of the shrimp dishes, and I'm not going to go over the whole thing, but regardless, I got to try a little bit of everything. We got a whole bunch of different appetizers. The cachapas are my absolute favorite. From Ear Scouts loves them too. So our bill was high, but not astronomically high. So the reason I want to say that is sometimes sticker shock can be a thing at Disney World with prices of some of these bigger restaurants, but the food quality is worth it. I know you agree. The food quality is worth it, but it's not as expensive as some of these other restaurants, and you're getting just fantastic quality food. What are your thoughts on that? Do you agree?
I agree. And I think that for people who don't go out to eat at a table service restaurant, people who eat at Chipotle, I don't have a problem with those places, but they're, the quick service-esque places in their hometowns and don't eat at table service, think that it's just expensive there. I will tell you right now, I would be willing to bet that for 6 people, your bill is going to be around, after tip, close to $400, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more, but it's going to be right around $400. I'm going to tell you, it's tough to get a dinner for 2 at a sit-down restaurant in your local town.
Yeah.
For under $100. So it's not that much of a difference. I can tell you right now too, even quick service, people complain about quick service food and how expensive it is. Go to your local Chick-fil-A, right? Go to Chick-fil-A, get a chicken sandwich. And I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to spend, for a family of 4, you're going to spend almost $75 at Chick-fil-A. Well, Disney food all of a sudden doesn't look that expensive.
Yep.
Anyhow, that's I'll get off my high horse there or something.
No, I wanted your opinion on it. I asked you for it, and that was perfect.
All right, so that brings us to the final round for Magic Kingdom. So if you've been paying attention, if I actually wasn't lazy and actually did insert the graphics, you've seen it. The current matchup is Pirates of the Caribbean with the People Mover. Okay, so
this
2
is tougher.
slow-moving-ish rides, one with a story, one without, one that has some of the best views you can possibly have, one that has some of the most classic Disney experiences, the smells, all of it.
Well, there's a thrill too. There's a nice drop in it.
There is a thrill. You are correct.
It includes Photo Pass.
Yep.
Like those things are a big deal to me.
Yep. So what do you think happened here? Or do you know what happened? Do you remember?
No, I think Pirates won 60-40.
You're close. Pirates won 62-38. Pirates won.
Okay, good.
I would agree with this. Obviously, I love People Mover, but I would have knocked it out last round with Skipper Canteen if I were filling out my bracket out of my own feelings. Yes, I would have taken Skipper's Canteen over People Mover. Somebody said you can go to Magic Kingdom, you get to do one thing. You can eat somewhere, you can eat one thing, you can go on one ride, whatever, right? And then they narrowed it down and said, here's your choice. You get to do one of these 2 things. I'm picking Skipper Canteen.
Okay, now let's do Canteen versus Pirates. Who wins for you?
Pirates.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. My vote's the same. I would have ended up with the same.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I wouldn't have voted Skipper Canteen over Pirates. I would have voted Skipper Canteen over people mover. So
Yeah.
I'm good with this. I'm fine with Pirates advancing out of the Magic Kingdom bracket. I also think it's super appropriate. I'm excited because it's a classic ride. It's classic Disney.
Mhm.
Um, I
It
purposely
has
didn't
it
put,
all.
I purposely didn't put Tron in this because for me, like Tron is just on such a different level than the rest of Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
I feel like Magic Kingdom currently has very classic style ride. Even when you look at like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, right? It's still a very classic style ride, and Tron just separates itself from that crowd quite a bit. So I honestly eliminated that from selection for me. Now, if I did it differently, maybe Tron advances because it's the newest and greatest thing. But that's kind of where we're at.
Well, and I don't think it would be fair if we didn't end with saying this too, is that when we did this previously, Big Thunder Mountain was on the list, and Big Thunder Mountain went far.
Big Thunder, I think, advanced out of the
Yeah.
bracket. Yeah,
Yes.
but Big Thunder's not open.
Exactly. That's my point. That's why this is a really interesting bracket, because we don't even have that. We don't have Tron. We don't have Tiana in here.
I will say
these are your classics.
Yeah,
you know?
I will say that next week we're doing Hollywood Studios, as you mentioned. There's a roller coaster there that was included in the bracket because it was open at the beginning. I honestly, off the top of my head, can't remember how far it advanced, but or if it even did. Rock and Roller Coaster is one that today, if we were remake our brackets, wouldn't even be included. And man, are they moving quickly? Holy cow!
You seen? I want to get rid of Aerosmith as soon as I could too.
Well, they did. Did you see how quickly they moved?
I know.
The car's already getting painted.
Get rid of
the car's already getting painted.
Have you seen the pictures of it? Shares my disdain for Aerosmith. What, the car is painted already to Muppets?
It's already started. The paint job on that car has already started to get painted, like with the whole like psychedelic look to it.
Well, this isn't a huge change, though. It's just kind of one of the most mild rethemes you can do, because the ride system doesn't change at all.
Yeah, I'm optimistic it might be reopened by the time I go.
Yeah,
I mean, if I don't know what they're putting in there,
I would say probably. I would say chances are better that it'll be open by summertime.
All right, guys. So that was a lot of fun. And advancing from the Magic Kingdom to represent all of Magic Kingdom against the other 4 parks is Pirates. And I think that's a pretty good representative from that bracket. It's going to be fun. Join us next week, because next week we have Hollywood Studios.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're going Epcot and Animal Kingdom. It's going to be fun because, in the end, we've got the Battle of the Kingdoms. In the Final Four, it's the Battle of the Kingdoms versus the Skyliner battle. And then, who knows who will advance from there. But guys, it's been a lot of fun. Rob, you have anything to add this week?
No, thanks to our patrons. We're growing like crazy. It is awesome. We're very happy. And a lot of that is because you're sharing it with friends. So please, please, please share it with a friend who is a Disney fanatic like we are, or someone who's just looking to plan a trip and wants to learn a little bit more about what to pack in your bag or what the great rides are, this or that. There's so many different things. But big shout out to our longtime listeners and
100%. 100%. And I do want to add, after we're done with this we actually talked about this. So I'm going to bring it up. It's a little behind the scenes, little snippet here. We talked about this week, that like sometimes a show like this maybe isn't for everybody. This isn't something you would pass along to a friend who just is casually into Disney, and that's fine. But we're going to do these for our longtime listeners, for the people who really, really, truly love Disney. If you like it, great. If you don't, it's okay. Stick with us, because as we're coming up here on the summer season, the spring and summer season, people are planning. We're planning on doing a few. Yeah, we're planning to do a few park prep type of episodes as well. So, stick with us. We'll get there. That's for sure. Guys, it's been a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this episode. I hope you guys did too. Thank you so much for voting. But it's a great, big, beautiful tomorrow, and tomorrow is just a list away.
Tune in next time, and we'll see you real soon.